All right, let's dig into a story that's a real head scratcher in the world of AI. We're talking about NVIDIA, a company that is absolutely crushing it, posting unbelievable results, and then its stock goes down. How does that even happen? Let's get into it.
So this is the big mystery we're unpacking today. How can a company that's literally building the future of technology, a company with just explosive growth, suddenly see its stock take a hit? You'd think it breaks the laws of investing, right? Well, as we're about to see, the stock market plays by its own very strange set of rules. And here it is, the whole paradox laid out for you. Just look at the left side. Revenue is up a staggering 56% from last year. That's phenomenal. But then you look at the right, and the stock price drops after they announce this amazing news. On the surface, it makes absolutely no sense. So we've got to peel back the layers here. To really get to the bottom of this, we have to start with the earnings report itself, because the numbers NVIDIA put up were, by any normal measure, just out of this world. Okay, just take a second and let that number sink in. $46.7 billion in a single quarter. I mean, that's the kind of money you make when you are dominating the hottest tech sector on the entire planet. But here's the kicker. In the world of Wall Street, the number itself, that's only half the story. The other half of the story is what we call the expectation game. You see, for a high-flying stock like NVIDIA, it's not just about how well you did. It's about how well you did compared to what everyone thought you were going to do. That incredibly high bar set by Wall Street. And if you're wondering where most of that cash came from, it's this right here, $41.1 billion. That all came from their data center business. You know, the part of the company selling those beastly chips that are the engine for the entire AI boom. This is the heart of the whole operation. But, and you're not going to believe this, even that mind-boggling number was seen as a slight letdown. It actually came in just under the super high target that analysts had predicted. For a stock that's been on a rocket ship ride, even the tiniest little miss can be enough to spook investors and have them hitting the sell button. And it all comes down to this simple idea. Investor expectations weren't just high, they were sky high. The bar was set at beyond perfect, and NVIDIA delivered only incredible. And for some traders, that little gap was all they needed to start getting nervous. But a tiny miss on expectations wasn't the only thing going on. Oh no. There was a much bigger, more complicated storm brewing on the horizon, something we can call the Great Wall of Worry. And all of that worry is centered around one place, China. New U.S. export rules have put NVIDIA in a really tough spot. See, they even developed special chips just for the Chinese market, but now the future of those sales is totally up in the air. In fact, they had to leave China out of their future sales forecast entirely. And for investors, when a huge market like that suddenly becomes a giant question mark, that is a major red flag. So we've got impossibly high expectations, and we've got major geopolitical drama. But there's a third factor here, something that's less about the numbers and more about a feeling, a fear, really. The growing whispers that this whole AI boom might just be a bubble that's waiting to pop. And look, when a major tech investor, someone like Peter Thiel, comes out and publicly warns that NVIDIA's stock might be way overvalued, people listen. He literally compared the hype right now to the dot-com era, which brings up a really uncomfortable question about whether this AI gold rush has pushed prices way beyond reality. And that is a powerful and honestly a kind of scary question for anyone in tech right now. Is this truly the beginning of a new technological age? Or are we just partying like it's 1999, right before the whole thing came crashing down? That feeling, that doubt, is now hanging over the entire market. Okay, so you've got these three huge pressures working against the stock. Crazy expectations, tensions with China, and these fears of a bubble. It paints a pretty risky picture. But that's not the whole story. Let's look at what's coming next, because NVIDIA is definitely not just standing still. In the middle of all this anxiety, NVIDIA made a massive power move. They announced a $60 billion share buyback. That's the company using its own giant pile of cash to buy its own stock. It is one of the biggest votes of confidence a company can give, basically screaming, "We think our stock is cheap and we are betting big on ourselves." And this slide really captures the tug of war perfectly. On the one hand, you have every reason to be optimistic. They completely dominate the AI market. They have that huge buyback, and their CEO is incredibly bullish. But pulling in the other direction are some serious headwinds. The ongoing China drama, new competition popping up, and that nagging question of whether the stock is just, well, too expensive.
Which leaves us with this final, crucial question. Nobody doubts that NVIDIA is building the very infrastructure of our AI future. But what the market is asking is this. Has the stock price already priced in a decade of flawless success? A future with no bumps in the road? Has the price gotten so far ahead of itself that it's lost touch with the messy reality of today? And that right there is the paradox at the heart of NVIDIA.